So, Captain Paul for the locker room. Going to be doing the Buffalo Sabres season preview. This is a team that's had a ton of potential for years to come, only missed the playoffs by a point. But before we get into that, I appreciate if you drop a like, comment down below, and also subscribe if you've not already. Let's just get right into the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres have quite a bit of cap space, $8.7 million available in cap, and it kind of puts them in a nice situation going forward on this roster. The Sabres, they have struggled to hit that next gear, to become a playoff team. But they have all the juicy ingredients you want for a playoff team. Let's get right into the forward group. Tage Thompson has become a superstar. 78 games played last year, 47 goals, 47 assists for 94 points. Alex Tuch, hometown kid, 79 points, 74 games played, at 36 goals. Jeff Skinner found his scoring touch. The $9 million man found the scoring touch at 35 goals, 47 assists for 82 points. Now, it obviously helps playing with a big behemoth like Tage Thompson, 6'6", but Skinner looked like himself, like the best version of himself. And if the Buffalo Sabres are going to be in contention, and if they're going to be considered a playoff team, they need Jeff Skinner not to disappear like he does at times. He'll always have those really good seasons, then disappear, and then come back. They need him to be consistent this year. Their first line is really good. I like Alex Tuch. I loved him with Vegas. I think him going back to his hometown team in Buffalo is a fantastic story. This first line is extremely good. They can play with anyone in the NHL. Going into the second line, Middlestat, Cousins, and Olofsson. Very good second line. Dylan Cousins had 68 points, the most in this combination in 81 games played. Middlestat with 59, and Olofsson with 40. Second line is solid second line. I really wouldn't complain about it. I think anyone would be happy with that type of production on their second line. And, their third and fourth line, how would I put this? Very good players. You have a couple guys with 30, one guy with 32 points in JJP. And then you have three others with, 25 plus points, which is good bottom production. Kyle Pozo, he's still producing in a decent clip. He kind of bounced around the league. Their bottom six, for me, it's kind of average at best. Greenway's a big guy, 6'6", plays the wing, maybe uses his size more to his advantage. Hey, maybe he picked up some things from Tage Thompson. I'm not saying he's going to be Tage Thompson, but when I look at the bottom six is the current construction of this roster. Nothing that really shocks me, and it's going to be quick aside here, sharing this. So going into the Rochester Americans, right? They have a couple good players with some good point totals. A guy that I would be interested to see if he makes an impact in this upcoming season would be Brandon Biro. 49 games played, 16 goals, 35 assists for 51 points. He isn't that old. I think he's 25, if I'm looking at that correct, around 25, 26 years old. Looks like he's improved at the AHL level, has been around a point per game. Maybe he makes a push out of camp to make that bottom six of the Buffalo Sabres. They have obviously some some really good prospects outside of him, but he kind of stuck out to me as a guy that's been in the system that might have an opportunity to maybe bump one of these other guys out. But, offensively, if I was to give the Sabres a rating, I think they're above average, and it's not due to their bottom six. Their top line's so good. Tage Thompson's so good. So I'll just say above average offense. I think they're going to be, pretty good at putting the puck in the net. So for the Sabres, if I'm a Sabres fan, I'm excited. My top line is one of the better ones in the NHL. Second line is very good production. The only question marks I have is can the third and fourth line produce like they did last season? And if you have 4 20-plus scorers in your bottom six, the production isn't terrible. Man, I am so foolish. I forgot about Jack Quinn. Oh, I thought I was missing somebody there. I mean, okay, so if you're in this video, you're probably screaming in the comment section, you forgot somebody. Jack Quinn. I I admittedly did. I thought there was something missing in that bottom six. Yeah, I mean, 37 points, 75 games played. Yeah, I think the bottom six is average still. But he's a young player that should keep improving. That's actually big. Damn, I hate when I do that. I'm not gonna redo the video. I mean, yeah, he was a high draft pick. That's right, 8th overall. So Jack Quinn, you're expecting to hit that gear next year. Maybe he becomes 40, and maybe that makes sure second line. He'll probably be battling for that second line spot. I mean, it depends how his camp goes, but I mean, if you had Olofsson slotted down, it just gives you more depth. I think that's actually really good. So I'm looking at the bottom six of the Sabres, like not completely differently, but a little bit more favorably. Let's go right into the defense. Rasmus Dahlin is a fantastic D-man. 78 games played, 15 goals, 58 assists for 73 points. And you saw some improvement. Obviously, offensively, he produces, but you saw improvement on him on the defense. And that's what you need. When I look at Buffalo, you have Samuelsson, you have Power, you have Kiharu. A lot of youth in this decor. Very, very young and very talented. I think Owen Power, he's only 20 years old. He should hopefully hit another gear. He should be a little bit more, I would say, defensively responsible. I think with the Buffalo Sabres, and this is just kind of my honest opinion on them, the reason why they're so up and down, Jekyll and Hyde, where they'll go on these massive tears and then they'll go on these massive losing streaks, because to be quite frank, if the Buffalo Sabres were consistent last year, they would have been easily a wild card team, if not in the top 3. They have the talent. They have all the talent in the world. It's just the youth and inexperience that I feel like comes into play, and they just play down to their competition or just play way below it. So I think some of the youth should, a few more seasons in the NHL, a couple more seasons for some guys. They should be able to become far more consistent night in, night out. And they got some veterans on the back end. Eric Johnson, I think that's a solid D-man to get. Is he a top 6 guy? I mean, is he a top 4 guy? No, but a bottom pairing guy with Eric Johnson, I don't think is terrible. He's a veteran. He's been around the league for a long time, and maybe can help mentor some of these guys. And they brought in Connor Clifton. Now, Cliffy hockey as a Bruins fan can be very up and down. It can. Now, last year you saw the best version of himself, right? 5 goals, 18 assists for 23 points, 78 games played. He plays a physical game. He might be 5'11". He tries to get, into hits. But Clifton can be a bit Jekyll and Hyde as well at times. And defensively, he can make some miscues. But at a bottom pairing, 3.3, it's quite a bit for a bottom pairing. But I think Connor Clifton, and some teams could be in the top 4. I think ideally on a playoff team, he's a bottom pairing defenseman. Connor Clifton is a solid defenseman. I'm not trying to besmirch his name. You need him to have his best. You need him to duplicate what he did last year for the Bruins. Because last year was the best version of himself, where you saw, far less Cliffy hockey, where he would make some pretty mind-boggling mistakes. I thought you saw Connor Clifton coming into his own. So hopefully in Buffalo, he keeps that trend over. Now, if I'm going to say this decor, this is hard for me, because when I'm looking at the individual talent, I want to say like above average. But with the youth, I'm kind of fearful of some trends of them playing back down to their competition. Buffalo's broken. I actually picked Buffalo to be a playoff team last season. In the season previews, I was like, they're going to do it because they have all the talent in the world. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to give us faith into it. I'll say they're above average. I'll say above average. As for the playoff stuff, you'll find about that later in the video. Let's get into goaltending. Craig Anderson, he's done. He retired, and he did well. Anderson did well for them last year, and he helped kind of fill that mentor role once Levi came in. But the Buffalo Sabres will go as far as Devin Levi takes them. Small sample size, 7 games, 5-2 record, 2.94 goals against average, 905. And you look at those stats, like those stats aren't that great, but if you watch the game and you see the film, he's a freaking good goalie. when he was playing for Northeastern, and you see him in the bean pot, you see him all this stuff. Like, the guy, he's him. He's only 21 years old. He's your guy. I love Devin Levi. I think he's kind of shown that he can be the number one. He has that athleticism because he's a shorter goalie, only being 6 foot tall, right? He's a shorter goalie that needs the athleticism. He does have that. And he made some spectacular saves, and he has a confidence about him that you want to see from a number one. You know, some guys need to develop that in the minors, need to build up their confidence, but Levi, even after a shaky game, would bounce back and have a pretty solid performance in the next. Yeah, I think the Sabres will go as far as Levi takes them now. They have Eric Comrie as the backup on Cat Friendly. I think they're probably going to be doing a 3-man rotation of UPL. Is UPL? Do they have him? Yeah, they have UPL designated in the minors on Cat Friendly. I think it's going to be like a 3-man rotation. UPL. It's going to be an RFA next year. UPL didn't do good either. 33 games played, 3.61 goals against average, and 891. Tatarski, they still have signed actually too. So that's decent goaltending depth in their organization. But Eric Comrie's didn't play great. He was just be honest with you, horrific. When you have a aging Craig Anderson be the only reason you're in playoff contention until Levi came into the situation, that's a problem. UPL has shown some flashes of being that guy, but he's so goddamn inconsistent. I think for me, they have their number one in Levi, but if the Sabres are going to be a playoff team, UPL, Comrie, hell, if Tatarski comes out of nowhere and really finds his game, whoever's his backup, whether it's a 4-man rotation, hey, they need an E-bug that can let in a lot of goals, I'm available, okay? But the backup's got to be good. You can't have him sub 900. To expect Devin Levi to play a ton of games and to be successful is unrealistic. You need these veterans like Comrie and UPL who have been here at the NHL level or at the pro level for a few years to give this kid a night off. And you might counter, well, he's a kid, he should have all the energy in the world. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We gotta be reasonable with our expectations. We do. Yeah, it really does come to the backup goalie situation. What are they gonna do? Who's gonna be that guy? And will Comrie come into his own? Will he show what he did in his good years in Winnipeg? Or will it be UPL finally kind of fulfilling that prophecy of his potential? I don't know. But I'll end the video with this. Is the Buffalo Sabres, are they a playoff team? God, this is rough because are they a playoff team? They have the potential to be. The only reason I'm hesitant because last year I bought in. They're just so damn inconsistent at times. They need to buck that trend. Can they make the playoffs? Do they have the talent to make playoffs? Absolutely. But I feel like there's a mental block with the Sabres. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just the culture there currently now in Buffalo. Buffalo Sabre fans are amazing, passionate fan base. So I'm hoping for them to make the playoffs. I just worry about some of the youth on the back end, continually showing that inexperience. And then Devin Levi looked really good coming into the NHL. But he is only 21 years old. To expect him to take you on a huge run, I think, is unreasonable. So if I had to have a Nerf gun to my head right now to make a selection, I think Buffalo just misses the playoffs again. But it's very difficult. They just have so much talent. I don't know. They gotta prove to me that they can be consistent. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be as objective as possible because I'm looking at all the talent. I'm like, they have it. But I just wonder if the mentality's there at time. But I'd like to Yeah, I'll just say I think they'll just miss the playoffs. Do I think they have the caliber to make a postseason run or be in the playoffs? Absolutely, they do. But I wonder if they're just still a little bit too green. But I'd like to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you think they're going to make the playoffs? Do you think they're going to miss? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down below, or I should say read your thoughts down below. I'm Captain Paul, and I'll see you in the next one.